about hockey as a sport here in just a few minutes. But before we get started, thank you for being here. Jeff and I put a lot of effort into this. We love being here. We love sharing with you. Most importantly, we love hearing from you, and we're hearing from more and more people from all different sorts of uh, platforms and angles. Between the Sun, the printed page, paper, the website. We have a newcomers direct mail piece that we put out. We have great good news. We have our app called Down Home. Uh, and so we're hearing from people from all over the place. Jimmy Port starts out with a great one. It says, before a surgeon can fix the problem, they have to stop the bleeding. Amen. Any corporate turnaround begins with cutting the fat. Amen. But I do feel bad for 150 plus year old seniors who are going to lose their Social Security. Is that not hilarious? Because Elon has found we're paying people Social Security benefits, people that would be 150 year old.
Are they from Chicago? Those
Oh,
people vote in Chicago. You know that,
yeah.
right?
Many of them probably Obama's friends, as far as I'm
Oh
concerned.
my
But
gosh.
it is insane. I wrote well, we're going to talk about the column here in a minute, so I won't talk about it now. But thank you for being here. We love the opportunity to interact with you. So if you have a comment and you want to share it, post it right there wherever you are, and we'll be able to see it. So before we get into our agenda, a couple things I want to update you on. It's been Trump now has been in office for 3 weeks and 2 days, I believe, and I think with the cabinet confirmation process, they're almost done. There's some cabinet members that don't get much attention, like the EPA dude and matter of fact, agriculture and a few others, but they're all almost done. What were you gonna say?
Did you see the EPA deal this morning?
Yeah, what they found.
I was looking for it to bring it up specifically, but the essence of it was that they found that Biden, before he left office, give me the number.
I
Was it
think
200 million?
no, it's 20. I think it's either 20 million or 20 billion. Billion in DC is they throw it around like it's a dollar, but it's a 20 something. As I think as I'll Sammy could look it up for us. But
He instructed the EPA to get this money spent.
you're
And
talking about he being Biden.
yeah, and
Yeah.
what was the expression about like gold bricks or
Yeah,
it
I'd have to
was
read it again. But yeah, but the EPA, Lee Zeldin, who was in Congress at one time, then ran for the governor of New York and didn't win, but now he's the EPA secretary,
and
is
so
found.
he's got that new job and found that right away on the job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know what?
we're not even you know
You
what's
gotta hide things better if you're gonna
we're
do.
not even to the point. We're not even to the amazing stuff. When it gets to the military, we're going to find,
I was thinking about
yeah,
that
we're
too.
going to
Yeah.
find crazy stuff. But in terms of the Trump's cabinet today, within the last 14 hours or so, the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins has been confirmed. Tulsi Gabbard was confirmed as the Director of National Intelligence, which was a iffy one from the get go.
Hmm.
That's the one I thought would have the most difficult. And then the most entertaining so far, I guess it's a tie between RFK Jr. and Cash Patel. Pete Hegseth, I think they recognize we're not going to be able to do much with Pete Hegseth. The other two, Cash Patel and RFK Jr., they'll get into it,
But I
but
thought you told me on Tuesday that Cash Patel dropped out of his work with Elon to run for
no,
governor of Ohio.
that's
Oh,
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Okay.
we don't see much of Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy has dropped out of the DOGE efforts because he's now going to run for the governor of Ohio. But so Tulsi's been confirmed, and just this morning, if you haven't heard, RFK Jr. has been confirmed as the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
I heard one of the senators drilling somebody yesterday and saying, I want you to think about this office and the policies of this person historically regarding this office they're going to take. And don't be voting on blind loyalty
Yeah.
to your leader, President Trump.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was kind of like a 23rd hour impassioned plea because I'm not saying people have been doing that, but to a degree, we talked about this in the early going. There's a need for the Republicans to stay united
Yeah.
so that they can get the cabinet set, so they can move on, so they can get things done, and to use that as a rolling stone, which will keep on rolling, so that um, the advantage of having control of
All three,
all three at once
presidency and the
is
two.
wasted if you don't stay
Yeah,
united.
I mean
Right.
the Democrats wasted it when first 2 years of Biden. And whenever I hear anyone on the left in Congress scold somebody that's sitting there about being loyal and this sort of thing, or don't be blind loyal. These
Mm.
are the same people who covered up Biden's dementia for 4 years. So they don't
True
hold any
that, man.
credibility with me. So there's your update on the cabinet confirmations. We know that Kash Patel, or FBI director, is being slow walked purposely by the Democrats in Congress. So I think that will happen sometime next week, and I would imagine that he will be confirmed just like the rest of these on a party line vote. The only Republican that voted against Gabbard and against RFK Jr. was Mitch McConnell. Um, so Mitch's time is come and gone about 10 years ago.
He
So he
he's
needs to go away, as far as
he,
I'm concerned.
he's a little butthurt and bitter, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I want to remind you that we are on TikTok now, and we do. There are snippets of our show that are put up on TikTok, and some of those snippets take off and get lots and lots and lots of interaction. Some don't. I guess that's just the way it works. Yesterday, I did a brief segment with Sammy just for TikTok. So there'll be those. Jeff will be doing some as well. Um, we will be having some guests as well in the near future. So that's coming. So we're going to try to keep this show lively. It's only an hour.
Keeping
So
it fresh.
keeping it fresh and lively. And we want your interaction for sure. So I want to read something to you if you haven't heard. The title of this is Texas Tax Dollars Funded Politico and Other News Websites. Revelation that millions of federal tax dollars have flowed to national and even international news organizations have raised questions about journalistic integrity and government fed propaganda. A review of the state spending records in Texas finds that agencies in Texas have also been spending heavily on left-wing publications. So let me just share a couple of these with you. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that we receive money for legal ads from the county, from the city of Waxahachie, from a variety of attorneys. By law, all of these entities have to run ads in the newspaper, in a printed edition of the newspaper that is generally distributed gen- in a general way, general distribution in its own market. So those things are required by law. We're the official paper for Waxahachie, for Red Oak, for Ovilla, Italy, let's see, Milford,
Red
uh,
Oak.
I said Red Oak, Waxahachie, of course. And we welcome the opportunity to be the official paper of Midlothian at some point. And so that's rapidly growing. But uh, these legal ads that run have to run. So there's probably some, although the state doesn't spend money with us on a legal, for legals.
Hmm.
So much of this is going to be the nefarious kind, not the kind that's required by law in terms of spending. But since 2016, the comptroller's website reveals state agencies have given almost $343,000 to the Texas Tribune, a publication that has been aligned with the leftist financier George Soros. Another 174,000 has gone to the Austin-based Quorum Report, a liberal gossip website. The same database finds state agencies have also paid more than 258,000 to Politico. Other publications getting subsidized by taxpayers include the Dallas Morning News at 428,000, the Austin American Statesman 109,000, the Houston Chronicle 106,000, the San Antonio Express News 71,000, Fort Worth Star Telegram 103,000. Texas Monthly, known for its far left news coverage and attack pieces on conservatives, has received $195,000 from tax dollars.
How about Dallas Morning News being number one?
Yeah, and so I can assure you that the Waxahachie Sun, none of our platforms has received a dime from the state, and it could be because we're too small. which isn't, I don't believe the case, but I believe it's because we have a certain position in our market and in our way of thinking. You know, the only way you can determine what our position is, or at least mine, because I don't represent everybody that works for us, but the only place you can find any political leaning from the Waxahachie Sun is on page 5 of the Sun, and that's the op-ed page. I don't touch any other page. I don't touch any other story. I don't look at any other content before it publishes, so on and so forth. And and so we are just here to report the news for our local readers and community. But you know, it's always you have to be careful what you promise or what you say, because when reality comes, you may be tested with it. But in this case, if the state came and said, "Hey, we're gonna give you or spend whatever tax dollars, give you whatever tax dollars if you'll do this, or if you'll report it this way or that way," we would never do that, obviously. Uh, and so I can't speak to how this all transacted, but that's a lot of money. Six, what was the total? I said six. Let me see if I can find it. It's over $6 million has been given to these entities, those that I just mentioned, which are the bigger newspapers in the state, and then Texas Monthly and the Texas Tribune. So you know, it's not just in Washington D.C. as Jimmy talks about here that the funny monkey business is taking place. It's taking place in, I would imagine, in every state, right? Red, blue, whatever color you want to call them.
Hmm.
It's happening everywhere. And so that begs the question, does there need to be a Doge at the state level? Does there need to be a Doge at the county level? Does there need to be a Doge at the city level? On one hand, the city, we're a watchdog for anything that we may discover about the city of Waxahachie, and we're constantly on the what do you call it, watch, as a watchdog does. So, and as you know, we've reported things that we found, whether it be through individual politicians or elected officials, something big issue going on with the city, we'll report it. We have an obligation to report it, and those that we have relationships with in these entities know that we've got a responsibility to do that. So we'll do it.
Well, there's all types of organizations in the business world that have an internal audit department,
Proof.
and there are many levels of government that do have an internal
They
audit.
have their inspector generals. They have
Um,
their audits, and you know, you hear about the Defense Department failing the last 8 audits that it has had to go through. Now, some of that is on the it's kind of semantics. Uh, it's that they, when you fail an audit, it could be as massive as an embezzlement issue,
right.
or it could be as simple as you didn't follow the proper protocol to hire this person or these people, or purchase that equipment or whatever. So there's some of it that is big in nature and some of it is small. But the fact is, every state at every level of politics needs to have some degree of an audit, and call it Doge, call it audit, call it whatever you want to. I mean, when I worked for the Daily Light, we were audited, um, and we welcomed them. And so the idea that the state of Texas is actually spending money with organizations that are known for being left leaning is a real problem. I would hope that no right leaning publication in the state of Texas would take that money,
Right.
because we've never sold our space for any amount of money ever, and never will. In 40 years I've never done that, and that is a sacred thing. So I wanted to share that with you guys. It's incredible what's going on, and Jimmy, in a very funny way, just, I mean, again, we're not even to the hem of the garment, if you ask me, until we get to, I mean, deeper into the EPA, deep into military. Uh, who knows what we're going to find at the FBI? And they ain't even talked about that yet. Not only will we find financial issues like Doge is finding out, but what are we going to find at the FBI that says, look at what Ray and what was that dude before, Comey, look what these people were doing. Look what look what they were doing to average citizens of the United States. I mean, that's what we're going to discover. And if the left is already going crazy, which in my column we're going to talk about it, they are going crazy about it, it's only going to get incredible. It's going to be, on one hand, entertaining, which I kind of sad if you ask me, because real lives are at stake and the country's at stake. But it's incredible what is going on, and you can't convince me that people just didn't know about it. The last thing I'll say about this, and then certainly can weigh in, but Doge discovered this 200-foot deep mine. They call it the Iron
Do
Mine,
you
I
talk
think.
about the limestone deal?
Yes. Yeah, the limestone mine. Yeah,
Which
where
is where the processing of federal employee
retirement
retirement comes.
is done. And so it's a 200, literally, it's 200 feet into the ground. The employees that work there go in and work there all day. There's no there's no sun there. I mean, you're in a mine. There are computers in it,
Hmm.
but the computers produce things that then are saved as on paper. There are 20,000 file cabinets in that mine, and so it my stuff, my name stuff is in there. Yours is in there, and
Thank you.
I just don't.
I'm glad to be
I mean,
recognized
can
in DC.
and Doge is saying, what in the world are we 200? It's 2025 and we're 200 feet below the ground, printing stuff out and putting it in filing cabinets. I mean, it's incredible. That I don't know what other word to use. By the way, we Jeff and I thought, we need to have something on our set here that says when we have a real point we want to make, it doesn't have to be anger or it doesn't have to be, you know, provoked by anything negative. It can be and will be, but it could be something positive. Jeff wants me to hit it on the table, but it's loud.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, if you
go,
want to hear it,
so anyway,
you hear it.
I say guilty as
There
charged,
you go.
or rejected, denied.
Rejected.
All right. Anything else on Doge at the local level?
At the local level,
No.
no, no.
Okay. My column yesterday titled "A Brazen Mockery of a Nation in Need," and then went on to in 1,000 words, a little over 1,000, which is kind of a. I try to stay at 1,000 or below, but this one was 1,040 or something like that. But it is about uh, our country, and it's about what we are seeing take place. Again, Jimmy refers to a little piece of it, but it was basically to say who who would be or who is against a country like the United States being audited. And some there were at last check there were 300 or 400 comments, and I don't know how many. There's a lot of activity on it, and a lot.
I saw a number of 700 something for and 200 something again. So you're still
Yeah.
you still got more people
Yeah, I think more
agreeing with
people
you.
are saying, yeah, I mean, why is this such a difficult issue for people, particularly those on the left, to get? And the responses in some ways by some people were or are that they're not those that get upset aren't saying we don't need we're not against an audit. We're against and some use the phrase throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Well, I don't there's nobody at Doge or in the White House or in the Congress, wherever, that's saying throw it all out. Is there a freeze? And for some agencies, yes, but nobody's saying Trump's not saying throw everything out. It's only the incredible stuff that is being addressed. The U.S. aid, by example, is going to continue under maybe a different name and a different power structure or hierarchy. Is going to still give to countries that are in need. That's not going away. But it's the legitimate one. It's not. We're not going to give $20 million to Iraq or Iran for a stupid Sesame Street or an opera, a DEI opera in Peru or wherever it was. So those of you that are getting angry with me by saying, well, we're not, those of us against this aren't talking about not doing it. We're simply saying don't throw it all out. There's nobody you can't find for me anywhere where somebody has said it's certainly one in my column that we're throwing out all of it, including the baby.
Right.
But how does a country how do you reform if people who have created the need for the reform, who have some say in how the reform goes, are totally against it because of what I said in my column. One is because they think the baby's going to be thrown out with the bathwater. They think it's too costly. And I said, well, that's akin to saying I'm not going to fix the roof leak on my house because I got to go out and buy a ladder to get up there. That's kind of stupid. Um, and then the last thing, which I think is the critical part of this, is that these people on the left in Washington don't want this happening because they have been a part of the shakedown. And so that's when you see these Congress people uh, s- go berserk, like Cory Booker and Maxine Waters, for God's sake. What is this woman doing in anywhere near anything but a nursing home, for God's sake? She's 85 years old. And Schumer, I mean, they don't know how stupid they look. So it's the biggest issue. The it's like throwing a stick into a pack of dogs. The one that yelps is the one that got hit,
Right.
right?
I think you got a couple things going on. Number one, um, let's recall that when the Democrats lost widely at all levels, and they weren't expecting to lose, they were shocked. They're still reeling, and the shock turned to bitterness.
Hmm.
Okay. Number two, a lot of what is going away has to do with entitlement things. And when you're used to getting something and it goes away, it's kind of it's kind of hard to swallow.
Yeah.
Number three, in terms of human headcount, when you got bureaucrats losing jobs at high levels, mid levels, and low levels, mm, that hits home pretty hard
Hmm.
when you lose a job, even if it's um, even if it's volunteering to take a 9 month buyout, which is a pretty nice and cush thing.
Yeah.
And then you got labor unions, um, which where does labor union get its money from
Dues.
dues from
Yeah.
memberships, and if people lose jobs, labor unions have less they have less to work with, they've got less clout, and so there's a lot of people on the I'm hurt feeling,
Hmm.
and so when you're hurt, um, you lash out. All that being said, put all of that aside and say, if it's identified as wasteful, unnecessary, repetitive, da 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 da, this is what we need to do. And the concept we talked about the other day about balancing your budget in your personal life applies in a business life, it applies in a government life. Everybody thinks I need more income to do better in any of those things
Yeah.
to balance my budget or my country's budget.
Right.
But spending less is the other way to do it. It's the harder way to do it. There's a little sacrifice, but it's not that hard if it's waste.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, the complainers need to say, if we reduce costs, then we're more balanced and everybody's better off.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to last time the we had a balanced budget. I don't know if you know when that was. It was back when Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich were
Okay.
together in the
Okay.
early 90s.
Okay.
And that's what needs to happen again.
Yeah.
If we'll ever get there, I don't know. But the idea is th- because you got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, doesn't mean, I mean, if we saw that scene, it was, matter of fact, on TikTok, been this series of funny videos where it shows a little baby, I mean, like a 2-year old, putting their hand into what the maker of the video, it would have been a toy, but they made it look like a big thing of cash.
Okay.
And then the mom saying, no, no, no. And the baby starts crying and getting mad at the mom. That's what we got going on here.
Yeah.
And so, and people are, I don't mind it. I don't. I appreciate any response to anything that we do. But people are angry with me because I simply said that this is wrong and it's got to stop. This is the United States of America. And as for the other argument that people are making is, well, Doge is unelected. Elon Musk is unelected. And as I said before, I try to watch. If you dare, if you will, I'll dare you to watch the first 15 minutes. That's all you got to watch of Rachel Maddow on MSNBC, and you will get a sense of how mentally distorted she is, and she is an icon of the left. So just watch 15 minutes of it. She comes on at 8, but you'll get a sense of how everything that we see as being good, that Trump has accomplished a lot in his first 3 weeks. Everything, according to MSNBC and Maddow and that lineup at night, is bad. Everything he's done is bad. Lawrence O'Donnell, who does the show after Rachel Maddow, said the other night, showed a picture of Elon Musk standing up in the Oval Office with his little boy on his shoulders, and Trump sitting at the resolute desk as the president of the United States. Lawrence O'Donnell went on forever about how no, he said it is the worst, not the worst. He said it is the most clear example of a weak president, a scene, an image of ever that Lawrence McDonald. It shows Musk standing up, Trump sitting down, and that it shows how soft a President Trump is, and it's the best example ever of a weak president.
You know what I took out of that scene?
Yeah,
I took out of it. Here you got your little boy all dressed up in a nice sport coat and a tie, and you're standing there wearing
yeah,
some dorky T-shirt with
yeah.
some kind of a white lettering across that
Right.
you can't even read what it says, and you got a nice black coat over the top. I mean,
And he's got
so,
on his "Make America Great" hat on. Yeah,
show a little respect for the office.
yeah. I
I
think these
mean,
guys.
when your son is dressed better than you, come on,
Yeah, I
Elon,
think
get a
these
clue,
guys,
dude.
they're different. They're just different. But the last thing I'll say on this is that the argument that many people are making, that Doge, Elon Musk, and the young person team that he has
Mhm.
are unelected. That we didn't elect Elon Musk to go in and find all of this, and so that he didn't have to be confirmed, he didn't have to be voted in, blah blah blah. In my column, I said uh, a truth, and that is neither are the people in these caves, in these dark, musty, cold corners of these agencies who are committing fraud every day. They weren't elected. They weren't voted. We didn't have a say in them, and they're being found out. And a lot of them are being canned. They're leaving. They're like cockroaches. They're scrambling for the dark corners. They weren't. Not a single one of them was elected.
The percentage of government workers elected versus unelected,
Yeah.
I don't know how many zeros you got to put
Yeah.
before the point one
Yeah, you're
to
right.
get there.
Yeah, you're right. And then
Hundreds,
the other,
thousands.
if the government was being audited by an outside auditing firm, none of those people are elected. So the argument is just silly. Just stop. I mean, telling me or anybody that says this needs to be done and Elon Musk is the guy to do it, that you're conjuring up all these dopey excuses or dopey fears or dopey whatever that says this is wrong, whether it's him not being elected, he's going to make things work for his companies. He's already worth $400 billion and is going to be, I'm telling you, by 2027, it's going to be the world's first trillionaire. Why does he need to play games? It just doesn't make any sense. He can create profits on his own, obviously. So there you go. The column is has gone wild, and I didn't expect it. There's nothing in there that I wrote that was meant to be provocative. It was just a basic, simple case for why this is necessary for us to become the great nation we once were. And so there you go. Anything else on that, Jeffrey?
That will get us done, I believe.
All righty. So, random thoughts of this day. You want to hear them?
Only if they're random.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
I write these as I go along.
I know.
They don't all come to me at one time. I
Me
don't know
either.
how you do it. Yeah.
I jot them down in the magic book.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, because I said that one the other day. That was the dinosaur one, the one where I said who people people assign a sound to a dinosaur, but they've never heard a dinosaur.
Correct.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Go 3 more feet is a real concept about life, and that is just when you think you're about to lose, just when you think you're not going to ever hit pay dirt by all your effort and all your work, just go a little deeper and you'll do it.
Dig a little deeper in the well,
And the 3 more
son.
feet
Dig,
came
dig,
from a
dig.
story in San Francisco of a gold digger in the 1800s who wasn't hitting any pay dirt. He put his land up for sale. The guy bought it and said, "We're going to go three more feet, and then we're going to stop." Well, when he went 3 more feet, he found gold
There you go.
and became a multi whatever. And so I'm saying in my own life that just when, and believe me, being an entrepreneur, Jimmy Porch is an entrepreneur. Other people that watch this are entrepreneurs. Uh, it's tough. And so when you think it's time to say, okay, white flag time, moving on, that's the time to go 3 more feet and see. Now you don't want to go 10 more feet and spend another, duplicate your efforts and never come up hitting pay dirt. You got to recognize a bad deal when you got it.
Right.
But 3 more feet
Cut
is a
bait.
real three. It's a three. It happens in football all the time. Just when you think you're down 28-3 in the Super Bowl, if you're the New England Patriots to the Atlanta Falcons, you could have said, I'm calling this sucker in. 3 more feet, they found a way to win and
Amen.
beat. And it's scarred Sammy since he's been a little boy. And you didn't hear what I said, did you? Yeah. Yeah. Um, so anyway, that's that. AI is both frightening and exciting. Do you know that AI Sam Altman, who's really the AI, Elon Musk of AI, although Elon Musk is in AI, said the other day in an interview that he believes that AI has the capability of curing cancer and other illnesses. And while it may be hard for me and others to get my mind around that concept, it is it is frightening. Not That's not frightening. That's exciting. But the idea that it can take over industries. I mean, what are you going to do if you're a songwriter? What are you going to do if you're an artist? What are you going to do if you
I find it
uh,
far more frightening than exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. I know some newspapers, even maybe some here in North Texas somewhere, that are putting out a newspaper just using AI. Just straight up you AI, and I can spot AI now. Anything that's written with an AI by AI, I can
I
spot it.
finally figured out some AI that I wasn't understanding. Wow, have you been getting on Instagram these little snippets of Barron Trump singing songs?
Um, I Not him, but I've seen the other ones
Oh, and I
where
thought,
AI is doing it.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
I didn't know that he sang much, and it's interesting. And now I see it all the time, and now I'm looking at it, and then the mouth isn't moving quite the
right.
way you want. And I go, what a fool! I mean, why did I not figure this out a long
Well, you
time
know what
ago?
else they're doing with it? It happened with the Luca whole fiasco with
Hmm.
Luca, where it's still happening, where they'll interview another player,
Yeah.
and AI is saying things that like Steph Curry was supposedly being interviewed. What do you think of the Luca trade? And he was spewing out like, "Oh," but I mean,
What's remotely exciting about that? I find it frightening more than
no,
anything
I don't. That's
personally.
not the exciting
I
part.
know, but
The exciting part is that it will improve certain things that we rely on in our life. The medical industry is one of them. And while I may not understand it, I don't understand how brown cow can eat green grass and produce white milk, but I partake in it. So we don't have to understand everything.
what else you got?
Reading makes life so much more fulfilling, man. I'm telling. My wife is an avid reader. Your wife's an avid reader. I don't read
Beyond Abbott.
I don't read books every day, but I read the equivalent of I. It's got to be a 200-page book every 2 weeks, given all the stuff I read
Sure.
in our going on in our world. So reading is a big deal. Washington D.C. is the devil's workshop. If I was a devil and I said, you know what, I need to go find me a place where I can get people to do what I want, either because I tell them to or because I'm cunning enough to trick them into doing it. D.C.'s the place.
There you go.
Um, and George Strait needs to be the next Super Bowl halftime show. So I'm going on a George Strait marketing, whatever.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring George Strait. What Sonia and I were watching when Prince did it, when Michael Jackson did it. Those were great halftime shows. Prince was incredible in 2007 or nine.
I miss that man.
Oh, me too, man.
I
That
miss
was a
that man.
great show. So there you go. That's my 5 random thoughts. Another thing I want to mention here is I had somebody in our mail today. We got somebody that I care about and love and have always enjoyed being with. She sees life totally different than I do. Um, but I know, and she's been a subscriber of us since the day we opened. She sent in a note today with her bill saying cancel. And does it sting a little bit? Yeah. Will the amount that we won't get make any difference? No. But I think we're better than that. And there are people. I subscribe to the Dallas Morning News. I know you do. I subscribe to the New York Times. I subscribe to the Washington Post. And I hate those papers. I hate them. I hate what the Dallas Morning News has become. But I subscribe to them, and I'm not going to let whatever they say on their opinion page, or the fact that they endorse Hillary Clinton and they've turned liberal. I'm not going to let that cancel. So I hate that that's happened, and just makes me a little bit sad.
Yep.
All right, so that's that. What do we got now? Jeff and I are going to talk about because we started on this discussion the other day about hockey, and that to really get into hockey, you got to know what's going on, right?
You do.
Have you ever sat and watched cricket?
No, I have not.
I have, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on? And I'll tell you right now, whether it be Travis Smith or others out there that are have an affinity for sports, there isn't a cricket league either already in
Does
place or
out in
being
Grand
created.
Prairie, yeah.
Yeah. Um. And so,
Professional.
but watch cricket.
Yeah. Okay.
Watch cricket. You're like, what? Why are they throwing the ball that way? Why is there a catcher behind or beside three holes sticking up out of the ground? Why is the fence about? It's like a curb, and the
Yeah.
guys in the outfield don't wear gloves. And why do the pitchers and all wear mat? I mean, so. But if I knew the rule, and the scores are like
Right.
780 to 610 or something. But if I knew what they were doing
Yeah.
and trying to achieve, I would probably love the
Yeah.
sport.
And if you went there in 2 or 3 games and you sat next to somebody with a cold beer who wanted to tell you everything,
Yeah,
you'd have it done.
yeah,
You'd have it down.
yes,
And that's the same thing with hockey. People, they think it's hard. It is not as complicated as they would think. But the key is, um, part of what makes it extra hard is the speed of the game.
yeah,
And then there's the greatness of Wayne Gretzky, who used to say, and and give this statement and try to make analogies in all life. He says, I don't go where the puck is, I go where the puck is going to be.
exactly.
Because he's always one step ahead.
Yeah,
And that's the thing about hockey is if once you start knowing the game, you can anticipate where it's going to go because these passes are fast and they're far and they can go long directions. And if you didn't figure out what was happening and all
yeah.
of a sudden the guy doesn't have the puck and you have no idea where it is, well,
Yeah.
then you're in trouble.
I remember Sandy King. I don't know if you know her. She may have. She was the head of the chamber here, and then worked for the school district, and has been active. She's now in Sherman as the head of their chamber. But I gave her that. I go to where the puck will be, not where it is. And she said, "Yeah, that's like you don't. The shortstop doesn't throw the ball at the runner as he's running to first. He throws it to the first baseman.
Right.
Same concept."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it's very true. Very awesome statement. The so I'll finish with mine and we can get
Okay.
yours. So cricket,
Okay. I'm with you.
that's the only one of the ones I'm sharing that I don't know, but I'm not your average sports fan. Sammy and I both are sports fanatics. So hockey, I understand completely, but I can see where if you don't know anything about hockey, you're like, what is going on here? It's boring. I can't
Yeah.
deal with this, blah, 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 especially on TV. Totally different game in person. Soccer, put me to sleep, but I understand the rules. Tennis, I love tennis, particularly the big tournaments. But you got to know the rules. You
Hmm.
say to the average, even the average sports fan, but certainly the average person, well, what's the score? Well, it's deuce or
Yeah.
whatever they love 15. They're like,
Yeah.
what the golf? My wife wonders why in the world I ever watch golf,
All
and I
right.
love watching golf. Um, but again, I got to know what's going on. Why am I watching it? What makes me so excited about it? Because I love it. Um, so those are the ones for me. And hockey, I know you're going to talk more about hockey probably, but
No,
okay. But hockey, once you explain the rules to hockey, like that's icing
I-
or that's a penalty. or uh, whatever else. You know, it used to be the two line pass. Can't do that.
right.
Or the goalie used to be able to go all around the back of his net and or along the boards and all that, but behind him. And now he can't. He's got to go in that little whatever they call it, triangle or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Hockey increased the referee presence. You have referees and you have linesmen.
yeah,
Linesmen can referees are the only ones that can call penalties.
right.
Linesmen call the offsides and the icing. And they went from one referee and two linesmen to two referees now.
Yeah.
So
And they used to have the name on their back on the back. The referees did way back.
way back, but,
Yeah.
but now they go by numbers.
Yeah. But the
And
name, I'm
and
like, why you want to tell somebody your name?
and the lower the number, the higher your seniority is.
Oh,
You
is
you
that what
got
it
you
is?
got refs from 1 through 49. You got linesmen from 50 to
I
100.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
And so the higher the number, the less time you've had in the
correct,
league. Yeah.
correct.
Interesting. Okay. So what say you?
Well, I tell you what I think is a hard one to understand is the Winter Olympic biathlon with the shooting and the skiing. I have no idea how that scoring works, and you're doing two things completely different. It's fun to watch them.
Yeah.
They come in and they drop their poles and they
And
lie
then they
down and
shoot.
they
But
shoot and they get
imagine how hard that's got to be. You just, you just skied for however long of a distance, and now you got to with your breathing, you got to
and
lay
get
down
your pulse rate down and be calm.
and and
So
shoot a
uh,
6 times or something.
another sport that I don't know if it's easy or hard, and I've never seen it, and I've heard it is one of the fastest sports of all. Is high lie.
Yeah,
I'd
I don't know
I'd like to know high lie.
with that
What is
curves.
that?
It's a like it's not like racquetball, but it's a sport where you have a piece of equipment it looks like it's
Curve.
round, it's curved,
Yeah,
and you throw it
Oh
against
yeah,
a
I've seen that.
wall.
I've
right.
seen that
Yeah,
before.
Um,
it's a massive court though.
the other thing that it comes under the category if you sat with somebody for a whole event and learned it. But I think auto racing is complicated for a lot of reasons, and there's the what lap are you on? I mean, if you don't know
Yeah,
who's lapped who,
yeah,
and then there's the pit stops and your timings, and there's a lot to that that I don't know, and I know people who are big on it. I do know this. I know the NASCAR people don't like the open wheel, the Indy car.
yeah,
They each look down on each other for
yeah.
different reasons.
My sister
Uh,
is
uh,
about the size of my wife, 5'2" and nothing, and is a NASCAR maniac.
yeah,
And it drives me crazy to watch those things. But Sammy and Kenny are into Formula One, which I don't have a clue.
But that I know if you were to watch it, because a lot of people think it's just kind of like NASCAR going in circles. It's
They don't go
not.
in circles, I know, but
Yeah,
it's a race where if you go to it, the only thing you can see is the portion of it
you
that's right in front of you.
you get to pick what turn you're on. Yeah, but yeah, it's a really fun sport. It really
yeah.
is.
Sammy's totally into it now.
The other thing I think that is really hard is all the subjective things. I mean, you can say um, anything that involves penalties or fouls that's subjective,
Yeah.
but the ones where you're scoring people, okay, and what comes to mind right away is gymnastics,
Hmm.
diving,
Figure skating.
and figure skating and God rest my soul, my mom, she knew all the skaters and she could tell an axle from a Lux uh
A triple toe.
and
I don't know how you know that stuff. I mean, you just got
so
to watch it.
those the subjective ones are tough. Um so those I think are the hardest things for me to understand.
Well, given that we've got great hockey going on right now, hockey rules are not that difficult to
No, they're not.
understand, and they're not that many. You mentioned offsides, I didn't mention, but offsides, you just got to know what you're looking for, and so once you know it, it's a great sport.
You know, another thing about hockey and how things change over time. Now, at high levels, um, when a referee uh, calls a penalty, he goes to the bench, he tells them what the penalty is, and then he'll come out and he's mic'd and he'll say what the penalty is. But in the olden days, they had signals for everything. And at lower levels, if you went to go watch youth hockey, you see,
Yeah.
holding,
Holding, or I like the referees that used to be dramatic about cross-checking or whatever that is.
interference.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
cross-checking was that. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cross
yeah,
checking.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Those are slashing.
Slashing. Yeah.
flashing.
Yeah. And then there's that referee in hockey. He's kind of he's a great to watch, but he's dramatic, and he'll go over and he'll say number 10 here, number 14 here, 5 minutes for fighting, and he's gotten all these mannerisms
Yeah,
going. He's really a lot of fun to watch.
those are standard official
Yeah.
signals that you
Yeah.
have to use.
Sports, what would life be without sports? So anyway, I'm going to learn not to play cricket, but at least learn what cricket is, particularly if it's coming local.
That's a good thing.
You
that-
should learn F1, Dad.
F1. Nico. Okay. All right. It's rhyme time, Jeffrey. Lay it on
Time.
us.
So I promised you guys the other day, as I've said before, 74 poems in this book, 70 different topics, except for 4 of them about hockey. I got you one last. And this tournament continues tonight. 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday, and the final on Thursday.
Who won yesterday?
Ooh, Canada
Good.
in
In overtime.
Oh, that's cool.
Great game.
But tonight is America and Finland, and then Saturday night's the big one, America and Canada.
And I looked up the Vegas odds, and the Vegas has them rated as Canada first choice, U.S. second choice, Sweden third, and Finland fourth. I thought that would have been inverse to that, but Sweden was down 3-1, came back and got 2, took it into OT. They acquitted themselves quite well.
Yeah.
Great goaltending on both sides.
Cool.
Great action. Here we go.
Real quick, are they all those players all play in the NHL and they
Yeah.
just go to their respected
I
country?
think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Olympics, they don't have to be the NHL.
That's correct. That's the difference. This
Right.
is sponsored. This
By the
whole
N-
thing
it's
is
it's to replace their All-Star game.
Yeah.
all right. So we got Stanley Cup, September 21st, 2020, in the heart of COVID, and it goes something like this: Lord Stanley's Cup takes more than just luck, and most of the time, the losers don't whine.
Yeah, that too.
Sure, a break or two helps you get through, but generally it's grit by guys with no quit.
Yeah.
It takes 4 long rounds, and your body they do pound. 16 tough victories, and you're in the fabled cup. You will win. You get your name engraved for the life your parents paid. Off to the rink before dawn with a big backseat yawn. Mites, squirts, kiwis, bantams, midgets. You can't grow up any sooner. Now you're off to play junior. Now it's 2020. We've got COVID troubles. Ship the pucksters off to the Canadian bubbles. No fans at the game, yet they toil just the same. But there's plenty on TV for us all to see. Now it's the finals rounds with the Stars and the Bolts. Dallas opened game 1 with a mighty jolt. The Lightning were almost everybody's pick, but they held on too tightly to their stick. It's still a long way to go. I ain't betting harder than dough. I'm just glad I played the game. It was all for fun, not for fame.
Very good. Yeah, Dallas should have won that series. Dallas needs to get over the hump because we're going to be right there again this year. I say we as if I have anything to do with it, but it's Stars have really become an elite team.
Yeah.
I really. All right, it's time for our fun this day in history game where Jeff asks questions and Sammy and I answer them, and you can too. We have to be within 7 years of the actual year in which this happened, whatever the
7
event
each
is.
way. 7
Yeah,
each
up
way.
or down, not like Price is Right.
You get
Um,
a bonus for naming it on the money.
Yep.
And
So let's
here
go.
we go. A jury in Flemington, New Jersey. We're not starting out in the 1700s
I was going to say,
or
that
1600s.
sounds more modern.
Okay. A jury in Flemington, New Jersey found Bruno Richard Hauptmann, Hupptmann, guilty of first-degree murder in the kidnapped slaying of Charles A. Lindbergh Jr., the 20-month-old son of Charles and Anne Morrow Lindbergh.
1983.
1933.
1935.
Sammy.
Where was any indication 1930s in
Well, you
that?
got to
You
know
just got to kind of
Lindbergh.
know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
You,
Lindbergh
you know who
name.
Lindbergh was?
Mm.
First person to fly
Yeah.
solo
Oh,
across the Atlantic
Yeah.
Ocean.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. The 13th Winter Olympics opened in Lake Placid. That would be XII.
Dumb.
12.
The
You
13th
didn't finish. Oh, wait. That's the end of it?
in Lake Placid, New York.
What year?
I was saying XII is 12.
Oh, yeah, good.
Oh,
Sammy.
XII, three I's. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 56. 1956.
1980. Booyah. Sammy, look in his hat.
Oh, dang.
I got two there.
What does it say? Oh, Miracle Hockey Team.
Okay, cool.
And I stumbled on that, and I shouldn't have. I had it confused with 1960 in Sun Valley when the
Is that,
U.S. took
oh,
the silver, and they didn't.
yeah.
And I wasn't paying attention, and
The only
it
time,
cost me the not only the bonus. I missed it completely, and
well,
I'm
the only
ashamed.
time I ever hear Lake Placid is 1980 Olympics.
Well, I knew they played another Olympics there, and I went to look it up after I got this thing wrong, and they
Oh,
played the 1932
oh, wow.
Olympics in Lake Placid.
Interesting.
Here we
Okay.
go. The rock musical Rent by Jonathan Larson premiered off Broadway less than 3 weeks after Larson's death.
1996. 1996.
I think I'm going to say 1994.
Why would you know that at all?
Did I get it?
Yes.
Let's go.
Well, why would you know that at all?
I'm guessing.
But I got
Jeff.
it right too. Sammy got bonus.
You got the
Yes,
bone out. Here
sir.
we go. John Walker Lind,
Yeah.
Lindh, pleaded not guilty in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, to conspiring to kill Americans and supporting the Taliban and terrorist organizations.
What was the year? Dang it.
2010.
2008.
2002.
I
You
got
got
it.
it. I didn't.
I got it.
That gummit, I was going for a sweep.
Justice Justice Antonin Scalia, the influential conservative member of the U.S. Supreme Court, was found dead at a private residence in the Big Bend area of West Texas. He was 79 years old.
Yeah, it was sad.
2014.
2009.
2016.
Ooh, I barely got
The
it.
big man got the bone eye there. Thank you.
Good.
President Donald Trump personal attorney Michael Cohen said he had paid $130,000 out of his own pocket to Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, an adult films actor who claimed to have had a sexual encounter with Trump.
21.
2020.
2018.
I was going to say 19.
Big man got the bone eye.
Dang
Yeah.
it.
Really?
Yeah. Former President Donald Trump was acquitted by the Senate at a second impeachment trial in which he was accused of inciting attacks on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
2022.
2021.
Oh,
I thought that was an odd one.
Dang it.
That how would you be acquitted in an impeachment trial
if you weren't in office.
if you weren't in office?
Yeah, I guess.
And I didn't study it hard, and I took 19. I still
Yeah, I
got
would
it.
have said 19. I mean, that's what I initially thought, but then you said former president.
Yeah.
Because if in 2019 it wouldn't have been
And
former.
I put, you know what? I did that for the benefit of people who didn't want to stumble like I did.
So
But
is that the last one?
you didn't take the bait all the way. Here we go.
Oh.
No, we're done.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
7-1.
I was 7-2.
Sweet. Look at
Sweet.
Hussar weighing in. I don't know
Good
if you.
job.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Isaac
people, when you put up your numbers,
They're Googling,
and we don't know which one you're answering, you gotta just give us a little help there.
but they're Googling.
But I don't look very much because I'm busy reading this.
Yeah, they're Googling.
Here we go.
I know them both. They're Googling.
You're Googlers.
All right, so that's it. Before we get to the meme, well, no, I'll do the meme
Get the meme,
of the
get the
day, and then
meme.
we'll
Let's go
close
meme.
up. One of this is a meme, but it's not funny.
And
I've
it's
been
not
told
short.
memes are supposed to be funny, but one of the saddest lessons of history is this: if we have been bamboozled long enough,
I love the word bamboozled.
we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. Think about what's going on now. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken, that we've been had. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. That was written by Carl Sagan. So it's what's going on now. These people who have been have been bamboozled. That may be the American public bamboozled for so long and bought into the bamboozling, now reject the truth because they are almost mesmerized by the bamboozling. And the bamboozle has captured us, and it's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been had. Isn't that what's happening?
Yep.
Anyway, so I want to close before Jeff signs us off. I have decided far too long now. I've been really mindful of the people in my life that are on the left that might get triggered by something that I say, or that I shouldn't be as political as maybe I want to be. I don't believe we can get through life without knowing about politics, or that we shouldn't, because it impacts such a big part of our lives. But I've decided going forward that so much is at stake that I'm just going to just be as emphatic as I need to be. And if it means somebody cancels the paper, if it means somebody's not my friend anymore, then so be it. I think there's a greater reason to just be as kind as possible, certainly respectful, not belittling anybody, but the idea that I should be concerned about who might be triggered. I don't have that concern anymore. And so it's going to come out in what I write and what I say. And
Speak from your heart, Scott, and guess what?
Yeah.
If you quit being genuine, they'd still have plenty to complain about without you. So
I'll never stop being that. But the time has come that the platforms are here to make sure that we tell the truth.
this
So
is not a surprising revolution.
No. You mean reveal. Yeah, I know what you meant. All right.
Revelation.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. Take
All
us home, brother.
Watch USA Today. Gosh, it's one thing that tears me up about this tournament. I love all four of these teams.
Yeah. It's hard to see 'em
because they're
lose.
full of great players from great nations
Yeah.
playing a great game. And just remember, don't forget.
We've only been doing this 40 times.
Don't write a check that you can't cash. Boom.
All right.